Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Super Bowl Packers, the Trillist podcast for the diehard Green Bay Packers fans. Of course, I'm your host, Tha Gawd, here to bring you guys all the action, drama, and insight straight from inside the land of the green and gold.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm your boy AG. And I'm here to break down the X's and O's, some of the highlights, some of the hot takes that we got here in Packer Nation. So this is the Cheeseheads, where we don't bleed red, we bleed green and gold, baby.
Yeah, and every week we are diving into new Packer news, game analysis, and everything you need to know about the Packers on our Super Bowl journey. And hey, we're not just to talk. We want you guys to pitch in. If you guys have anything that you guys need to say, any hot takes, anything like that, hit that comment button, man, and tune and time in, my guy.
Make sure to follow us on all the social medias. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Twitter. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe, rate us, review us, leave us comments, chat with us here live. But we're here glad to, go ahead and break it down for you.
Of course, of course. So, yeah, just let us know, like I said, any bold predictions you have for this offseason, anybody who you think that we should be going after, let us know, and we will feature your take in our next episode, and we will touch on that, make a little slide, shout out your name and everything.
But it's time to bring that Lombardi Trophy back to Titletown, baby, back to the frozen tundra.
Hell yeah, so let's go, Packer fans. Buckle up and enjoy the ride. This is Super Bowl Packers. Once again, let's go ahead and get it. So, today we are going to be talking about our backfield. So that is our QB position, our running back position, and our fullback position. Since these positions are pretty much solidified on our team, we're going to do a little bit something a little different today on the episode, as far as just kind of going step by step and kind of taking a view and seeing where we're going to be rocking this boat into the future. As you can see here, we got our starting lineup of our starting QB, which is Jordan Love, of course, and then we got Malik Willis backing him up and Sean Clifford at number 3. And then, of course, we got a myriad of running backs in the running back room behind Josh Jacobs. We got Eric Wilson, Chris Brooks, the rookie Marshawn Lloyd, who was a rookie this past season, but will technically still be a rookie next year because this nigga played none, and A.J. Dillon. So, where are you at? I mean, like I said, we're pretty much solidified. Where are you at with these people? What's your feeling? What's your thoughts? You got any shout-outs for any of these folks, or what you got going on?
Number one, main shout-out to Gluten Kuntz for getting us a real backup quarterback, which it was a backup quarterback who was discarded by basically everybody. They're like, Malik Willis can't fucking ball in this league. Get that nigga off the field. All of a sudden, he comes in and plays valuable minutes. It seems like LaFleur did a better job of showing like his coaching mind with Willis this year than maybe it was presented with the rest of the offense. It seemed like the rest of the offense got stale, but when Malik Willis got in there, there was like more intent, there was more pop. It just felt like Willis gave us like valuable minutes. So, number one is to Goody, number two is to Malik Willis, and number three is to Josh Jacobs. You know what I mean? Like, that man was, if it wasn't for, and it's elite backs like Saquon and Derrick Henry, but Josh Jacobs was right up there, in the top of the conversation. I just wish he wouldn't get beat the fuck up as much, and we would have provided even bigger holes for him to break off more explosive plays. He would turn nothing into something, but we needed him to turn something into more, and that's not on him. I would say that's more on us, as the offense overall. So I'd say it's Goody, number one, for actually doing that, for bringing in both of those players, and then those two players themselves as it pertains to the backfield.
Gotcha. Hell yeah. Yeah. Real quick, put your left hand up. Yeah, scoot a little bit to your left. There you go. All right. Yeah, no, I would say the same thing. I mean, Malik Willis was definitely a dog this year. Definitely came in. He finished like 3 or 4 games for us. I mean, every game he played, even the Bears game that he ended up losing, he finished out and won for us. He played some excellent football, man. And like you said, Jordan, motherfucking Matt LaFleur's game plans that he put together for him were almost like masterful, you know what I mean? And I feel like, I wish he would have. I know he tried to give Jordan Love the keys to the Lamborghini, and I appreciate, and any young quarterback can appreciate that. But at the same time, what I'm saying, keep one hand on the wheel. You know what I'm saying? Draw some plays up so Jordan Love can be successful. Don't just have your offense that you're going and it's like, this is my playbook, so on and so forth. But specifically game plan for Jordan Love, I would like to see that a little bit more, moving ahead. But we'll get into that a little bit into the future. Josh Jacobs, yeah, he was a great addition to our team. One of my favorite players. I'm probably gonna pick up a jersey this offseason for Josh Jacobs. I think it might be my first single-digit non-QB jersey, as a matter of fact. But Josh Jacobs, man, he was out there dogging folks, bro. And in the beginning of the season, I could see it, but I wasn't really sold. But I could see it. I could see what Goody saw, and then by the end of the season, he was definitely a dog. I was wishing he was more in those conversations with Saquon Barkley and Derrick Henry, but they're trying to snub my man. But that's cool because that's gonna give him motivation more to come back next year and be like, put me on those lists. And I can't wait to see him eat next year. And then who I'm really excited about is Marshawn Lloyd because again, like I said in the intro, he didn't really get a lot of playing time because due to injury this last year. So he had like 2 plays that I remember, and I think it went for like 12 or 13 yards. The 2 plays that he had. He had some explosive looking runs. So I'm interested to see what he can bring to the table behind Josh Jacobs because he seems like an athletic back, and I like backs from USC. Shout out Reggie Bush. You know what I mean? AJ Dillon, he's probably gonna be gone. In all honesty, I love AJ Dillon, but he's gonna be gone.
Who the fuck cares? You know what I mean? Like Quadzilla or whatever the fuck he was naming himself. You know what I mean? It didn't pan out, as that Thunder Lightning back when Aaron Jones was there. And so once we brought in Josh Jacobs, I felt that his role was going to be kind of obsolete in the offense anyway.
Right.
We needed a more change of pace back, and that wasn't going to be him. We already had somebody who could turn something, or turn nothing into something, But like, I just didn't feel that if you weren't going to play all year, it's nothing really to miss per se. You know what I mean? Like, and that's no shade on him for what he may have brought, but like, it's just, hey, dog.
Right, it is what it is. And like you said, Josh Jacobs is a more effective version of him. He's the person who's a power back who gets hit on the 0-yard line and can turn it into 3 or 4. For all the love that people give to Quadzilla, I don't know, man. He just left something to be desired when he would hit that hole and somebody would meet him there and he would just fall down like, ooh. And they made this big old thing that he was like in the best shape of his life and he was about to get out there running people over, and I didn't see it. Man, and I never saw it. There was like I wanted him to be a more fit Eddie Lacy, really, but he just never had the vision or the burst or whatever. And he played admirably when he had to carry us through that stretch of games last year where Aaron Jones was out. But at the end of the day, it's not like a heart-wrenching loss. And AJ Dillon's cool and everything, but like I said, it is what it is. But that's pretty much the lineup, man. So we can go ahead and get into these questions real quick. At the top, we got what does the future hold for this offense and Matt LaFleur? And I kind of wanted to touch on, again, with the game planning a little bit better for Jordan Love. I touched on it the other day in the other episode, just talking about how if we were not going to have a number 1 receiver, you could game plan for a guy, who you think's going to, or, have your multiple game plans ready for whoever has the hot hand by the second quarter, and go with it. I don't know if that's asking too much. But you could game plan for your guy. Like I said, if the team's weak against the slot, then we game plan for Jane Reed. If the team is weak against, deep burners, we game plan for Watson, so on and so forth. But, where do you see this offense moving into the future?
So, I still feel we need a number 1 receiver because if I feel that Josh Jacobs takes a lot off of the quarterback, but I still feel that the quarterback needs to take something off of Josh Jacobs. You know what I mean? Like, we don't need to beat this nigga into the ground and basically expect him with every run to basically try to turn a 1-yard gain into a 4-yard gain and hope he may get a 15-yard gain by breaking 8 tackles to do so. Like, he's just taking a lot of hits. And he was an Iron Man this year, and played all the games, but I'm just saying we don't need that type of wear and tear on our young back if we want him to last into the future and have that same type of effect. So I feel we still need a number 1 receiver that'll help open up everything else in the offense because we don't, with Christian Watson, and we touched on this, in the first episode, with Christian Watson being out, expected, I think it's to like week 12, 13, 14, somewhere around there. He's missing a big chunk of the season, and we don't have a body type that matches that on the roster. And so we still need to bring in somebody that's going to do that. And I don't think drafting a rookie, which will help in the sense of the wide receiver room, but in the sense of where we're trying to go and trying to like be in it, I don't think that we need to just rely on Jacobs to be that only workhorse in the offense.
Right. I'm hoping that we move more of our way into some bully ball. I do kind of I understand what you're saying with you don't want him to kind of get beaten to the ground, but I do want him to be the workhorse of the offense. But I needed to funnel through him and kind of like keep our big bodies out there smacking, and then have our finesse guys come in there and do what they got to do. I've heard rumors and rumblings over the last couple of weeks that even though Romeo Dobbs came back and played for the rest of the season, that he still is unhappy with his role in the offense. So that's still there, lingering in the sky about touches and stuff with him. And as you touched in the other episode, I'd be open to a trade if he's gonna keep on acting like a little bi. I'll be open to a trade to get that nigga the fuck out, because I don't need him messing up the receiver room, getting mad. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's unnecessary. You're not better than Jaden Reed. Everybody can probably say that. You're not more explosive than Christian Watson. Everybody could probably say that. You have the best hands on the team, yes. Yes, you do. But you have to make yourself clear and far away than number one, and I don't feel like he's done that for as much as he wants to cry and whine about it. You know what I mean? But I would like to see the offense run through Tuck and Josh, just as that bigger, like a bully ball type of offense, maybe, more tight end sets, more, 11 personnel, so that we have those two tight ends on the field. I don't know, again, I don't know what to expect from Luke Musgrave. I saw flashes that first year. He didn't play all of last year, but I feel like he could be a good complement to what Tuck does. And, and then, like I said, we can funnel from there if we don't end up getting that guy in free agency. If we do, then my answer changes a little bit. But what I really feel like we could do better in offense is Matt LaFleur's, like, game management. Like, his challenges, his aggressiveness on fourth down. Because he used to be real aggressive, and now, I don't know, he's kind of, like, spooked himself into some shit and let Dan Campbell, like, take his identity and punk him about the shit and everything. So I don't know where he's at, but I know there's been mixing ups, and he's, like, giving some of the game management duties, I think, to Rich Bisaccia, I think I heard, man. I don't know. But
and we just extended that nigga, too. Which, I mean, anybody's better than that nigga Mo Drayton, but I'm just saying, like, it just doesn't, I don't know. I feel that we still need to layer everything better for our offense to work.
Right.
So that we have the proper pieces in place. And even if Dobbs doesn't want to be a part of the offense, if you got Tux, Reed, and Wicks, you know what I mean? Like, that's a good, two receiver tight end combo, but you still need somebody. And so I want to ask you, because we covered, the receiver and the edge rusher, would you rather us go get a number one receiver, veteran edge, or vice versa? You know what I mean? I know we kind of covered, because now we're talking about where the offense is trying to go. It's been projected in our mock drafts that we have some receivers that can go in that second round, but I think we may be leaning edge. It's a toss up. Really doesn't matter. I think we should go edge in the first round, to be honest. It's a better edge draft, but we're also going to need a corner. So I wanted to ask you how that's going to play out, and if you think we should use Dobbs or even Job, he's not coming back, in a trade to go get somebody, to give them a piece.
Yeah, I think it would be better, in our better interest, to draft for you're asking if we could only pick one, if we had to draft one and go get somebody, which one would be which?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, so I think with the draft class that we have coming in, it'll probably behoove us more to draft the edge guy, just because, like you said, it's a draft, it's an edge heavy draft, and then you can go get somebody who has a certified pair of hands. Just because the other way around, I don't give a fuck what you did as a receiver in college. I mean, the chances that you're going to come in and be Justin Jefferson as a rookie, or come in and do anything substantially to lift your team as a rookie receiver, I'm not saying it's unheard of, but it's a little bit more translatable for an edge rusher, I think, to come in and do that, as opposed to if I get somebody who's a definite guy, on offense. Yeah, I can trust that you're going to be there for these big moments. I can trust that you're going to get our younger receivers up to date, up to quality where it needs to be. I just think it'll be better to do that. And like I said, it's just because the talent pool for edge rusher is better in the draft right now. I'll be more comfortable if we could only pick one. If we could only do one thing, get the edge rusher from the draft, get a veteran receiver. That's what makes the most sense to me.
My best case scenario, and the best way we can layer this, is if we were to go get say like DK, right? DK or T, right? But I say DK because you can use like the trade chip aspect of it and maybe lock him more in, and he's more again that big body. Sign a veteran or a good starting corner, right? Because I know we'll probably just trade Ja for draft capital. We may get a rotational piece, but I don't think we'll get somebody like a starting caliber.
Which is unfortunate because besides Ja, like who have we drafted good in the backfield? I mean, like as a DB, it's been rough back there for us.
Right before, listen, I'm scarred by Kevin King, my nigga. Like I can't. It's just Kevin King is the worst of the worst, and I can't just keep. He's the one that pops in my head of just like awful. Like why did we do this? And
he wasn't worse than like Quentin Rollins and who was the other one that came with Quentin Rollins? There's another one. Damn, I can't remember his name. It was two of them that came during that time period, but they were trash too, and they were before the Kevin King era.
Right. But either way, so I'd rather us go get like a DK type of big body archetype, assign a veteran type of corner, and draft the edge. Right. I think that's kind of like our best layering scenario because based on how our rookies played in the secondary, and Keyshawn is wanting to still, be that starting guy. I mean, he could still be a good rotational piece. I don't know if he should be the full-time starter. So if you could bring in another starter that may be able to play over him, right, that may be a better option, or play alongside him, or Valentine and him rotate that piece. So then I think that layering that better with the offense, circling all the way back, short story long, basically just saying that we need to layer the receivers better for the offense, so I believe works a little better. And then once we have a viable backup running back like Marshawn Lewis, then we can have a more cohesive offense overall. And even if Musgrave isn't the one going to be seeing the field, I still don't think that, again, Romeo would be a number one, Wicks would be a number one, Reed isn't a number one, like just, or hasn't broken out. And we can do the Devontae timeline kind of thing. We're like, just wait and see, just wait and see, just wait and see. And I was like, I get it, but we need to probably get somebody proven.
Right. Because it's either going to be, if we're doing a wait and see game, it'll be year 3 or 4, which is this year coming up or the year after that. He does have the major breakthrough, and he's getting there. I mean, like, his numbers are improving from year to year, but like you said, he's not there. And if I was a defensive coordinator, I see Jayden Reed as your number one receiver. It's not like I'm not like having nightmares or anything. You know what I mean? Like we can shut this guy down if we need to, and especially without Christian Watson there, it's like, okay, well, all right, well, we can just devote our resources to him. So okay. You got anything else you want to add to the offense? Any footnotes, anything like that to keep an eye out for? Any hot takes for our offense moving forward?
My hot take on the offense moving forward is that our line is gonna piss us off this year. Like I know our offensive line has always been something good, but I think that it's gonna make us angry this year if we don't shore this up. Like it's just been one of those things that's probably gonna be like, what is going on? And we're gonna be like, why do we have so much pressure? Or why did he get through? Like we're making improvements, but I still think because Jordan Morgan hasn't played and we're going to slide him in there, we're going to have another kind of like round of rotation this year. So my hot take is that our offensive line might fuck some shit up for us this year.
I don't like that because so Jordan Love is like the highest, the least sacked quarterback, like the highest sack. What is this, avoidance rate? I guess it is with pressure is who's going to escape and make the throw. But where my offensive line was pissing me off for the last 2 years is just all the petty calls. Like, the petty calls, man, they get so much things brought back for us and so many, like, false start bullshit penalties, man. Like, I can't have that. You know what I mean? Like, that shit is unreal. And it's so many times that, and they keep on, I don't know if it's to attribute to it being a young team or what, but I don't know. Going into year 3, I don't need that. I don't need that kind of pressure from my line. Usually that's one of the things I can count on. With Green Bay as our offensive line. I hope that we shore that up in free agency. Who is it that's up for contract right now? Is that Zach Tom who's up for their contract?
Josh Myers.
Josh Myers. Yeah.
And so, you're rotating the center out. You're probably going to let him walk, honestly. So it's going to be, again, just kind of a rotation piece of it. And the going back to the sack avoidance, that speaks to the offensive line, and just more so Jordan just trying to get rid of it. You know what I mean? Like, fuck it, get rid of it, throw it to somebody. I need it out of my hands, but that doesn't speak to the offensive line doing well, like you
No,
said.
no, it doesn't.
So it's just it again, that's my hot take is that we are going to look for the offense to do well, and it's all going to depend on the trenches. Because you look at ones like the Eagles or Detroit, you know what I mean? They were just like they got all day, or even like the backups for Minnesota came in and gave Darnold all day in certain situations. So
Right.
it was you. It just that's my hot take.
I feel it. I feel it. All right. Well said. Well said. We'll go ahead and move on to the next topic. Something I wanted to talk about. What are your final thoughts on Jordan Love for his second season as a starter? How do you feel he did in comparison to his first season? Is he living up to expectations? Is he falling short? How do you feel?
It's hard to analyze because he was hurt, and you can't use that as an excuse because there were just times.
It's the NFL. Everybody's hurt.
Right. No. There were times back there where it would piss me off when I'm seeing him on just dancing on his toes, and that's his play style, right? This for good or for bad. He's had some amazing shit happen, and he's had some bad shit happen. But something about it when he's just kind of back there, on his back foot, hanging back on that back leg, getting ready to try to launch it, it makes me a little bit nervous. I have faith in him. He's my quarterback. I'm not giving up on him. He's still a very good quarterback, very good. But it was like there's something about him that he has like this YOLO tendency. He wants to let out a little bit too much, and it needs to be coached out of him, right? Like the YOLO makes him good, but he needs to be more decisive with the YOLO. Like they say that Josh Allen is a roller coaster, and he's kind of up and down. And this year he cut back on all the turnovers, didn't really get nowhere with it, obviously. But it was one of those things like he still wants to be like, I can do this, like I can fix this thing. And sometimes he just kind of waits a little bit too long, doesn't take the safe play because he's trying to trust that he can make all the big plays. Sometimes we just need to move the chains.
Right. Yeah, I'm kind of right there with it too. What I do want to make perfectly clear is that all the fans who keep on saying we need to bench Jordan Love from Malik Willis need to shut the fuck up. They need to just chill the fuck out. I don't know where these people come from. It's the same group of people that be like, oh, we should run a 2-quarterback set because Malik is so dangerous on his legs, and then the team wouldn't know what's going on. I'm like, bro, the only person that seems confused is you. Nobody fucking does that. And there's been other quarterbacks who run better than their starting, opposite. Shit doesn't make sense. Please stop saying that shit. And Malik Willis is a good quarterback, but he's not Jordan Love. And for you to be able to think that, when people start saying shit like that, I'm like, mute conversation, bro. I'm done talking with you about football. Now we're just talking from a place of emotion. And at first, when people was talking shit about Jordan Love, I was like, these niggas is racist, bro. Y'all don't like a black quarterback. But then when they was like put Malik in, I was like, oh, I guess they're not that racist. Now if they would have been like put Sean Clifford in, then I would have been like, oh, these niggas right here is racist. But yeah, I don't want to hear that shit. Like Malik is a good quarterback, and he has again a tailored game plan specifically tailored to his success so that he can get in there and do his stuff sizzle. And Jordan Love, man, he's a great quarterback. I think that he just needs some more polishing, like you said. He just needs to be coached up a little bit more. He's had 2 seasons. We've been shown that he can protect the ball, take care of the ball when he needs to and when he has to. So I understand you telling the YOLO, and he does have the YOLO. But when time push comes to shove, he can take care of the ball. The playoff game, he threw 3 picks, but I don't feel like all those picks were his fault. At least 2 of them were not. And it just is what it is. I mean, the Eagles have a great defense. So shit happens. I think that he did well. I would have liked to see him play the whole season uninjured, but again, it is the NFL, and that is a pipe dream. So you got to deal with what you got to deal with, and you also can't blame him for the drops. I mean, like we had like at least 3 niggas with 5 or 6 drops. And you can't blame Jordan Love for that. And his stats, up until like the second to third to last week of the season, the Lions had like 2 drops. And if our receiving core had that kind of productivity and that kind, his stats would be way different than what it was. Maybe even our win record and some of those big games that we lost would change. I think our future is fine with Jordan Love right now, and I don't know. I wouldn't say that he took a step back this season. He just had to deal with more injuries than he had to deal with last season. and we won more games. We're dealing with the youngest team. I know that people are like, oh, it's cliche to say that, but I saw a stat the other day that showed the records of the other teams that were the youngest team, and nobody had a winning record except for us and us last year. Other than that, the last 2 decades of youngest teams were in losing records under 500. So, I think that he's going to ball out, and it's only going to be a matter of time before, he gets out there and silences all the haters.
Right. Yeah, I mean, he only had, besides the playoff game, he only had 2 other games where he had multi-turnover. It's not so much like always like the turnover aspect of it. It's the big play hunting. You know what I mean? It's more so like the YOLO aspect of it. Instead of like living to fight another down kind of thing. It's like I feel our offense leaves so much more on the table. Like we can score hella points, but I feel like we can score more, right? I feel that we can put up 35, 42, you know what I mean, on certain teams, and I feel like we should be blowing out teams even more, than was showed. Like what was our biggest point total really of the year was
That Saints game.
right, like and even just
You just did something, and now you came in double.
like so.
Oh, it's just because you leaned in.
Probably. Like no, I was just kind of looking at the scores. Like we scored 34 multiple times, but I feel like we still leave things on the table. Like looking at the completion percentage, like Jordan was in just kind of like that 50% range, 59, 59, 59, 56, 60, 57, 63. But I feel like the offense isn't schemed in a way that was conducive. Like it's all like one big encompassing picture. Like I can't all put it on Jordan. I can't put it all on Matt LaFleur. I can't put it all on the receivers, but it's everybody. There's like we just kind of all left something there that could have been accomplished, and I just don't feel that we. But
what's the feeling that you're feeling in your heart is that we lack 4 quarters of playing football with convention. It's the offense be there, but we put up 34 playing 2 quarters and a half of good football and go fucking missing in the first quarter and the second quarter and then show up in the second half, or go missing randomly in the third quarter after we've been going. So it's the consistency throughout a football game is what we're missing. The offense be humming and doing its thing, and even when we're not scoring, we be driving all the way down the field. Like it's rare that we're just like out here going 3 and out. We drive down the field and do some dumb shit, or go down there and miss a field goal, or go out there and get a 4th down and then run the most predictable 4th down in one play of all time, dive up the one hole. You know what I'm saying?
1st and 10, run the ball. 2nd and 10, run the ball. 3rd and 10. You know what I mean? Just stop.
It'd just be unimaginative play calling, like it'd be like our offense is good, so they'll figure it out. So I'm not gonna do anything like specific, so you guys just make it happen. Literally, the best play that we have on 4th down is the tush push, and I'm not like overly impressed with that play. It's cool, it's effective, I guess. Jordan Love ain't a small dude, he's not weak, so I guess like leaving him out of harm's way is great. But
something else I was missing this year, because I didn't run at all this year. Let me see. This man had 20.
You just disappeared on me. Oh shit, you disappeared on me, dog. Technical difficulties. This nigga just disappeared, bro. You just disappeared on me, baby. Don't do me like that, baby. All right, you guys, give me 1 second. My man's disappeared on me.
What happened?
Okay. I can hear. Oh, you just came back. I don't know. You disappeared on me, man. You went black in the middle of your speech, and then I texted you, and then you're back. I was about to go to the thing and start touching shit, but you came back like, what happened?
What happened? The magic. Who needs me? No. So no, I was just saying. My point basically before it cut off was, if I'm looking at this right, this man had 25 carries for 83 yards on the season. Right, that's an injury at play. That's not confidence in your running ability. Right, that's not designated
runs or anything that's really supporting you. I'm not saying this man has to, run the same way Lamar does, but he gets 83 yards through 14 games that he played, 15 games. So, and then he had 2 carries for 10 yards in the Philly game. So, I
What's that,
think
like 6 yards a game or something like that?
yeah, some terrible like that. Yeah. So, and again, it was not all on him, but his high was 4 carries for 23 yards, Detroit in December. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I've seen Jordan scamper for 40 yards before. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, and take off. Like, I feel like the escapability just wasn't there. He wasn't confident in it. And so I think that I could attest that to the knee injury because, his carries are 1 for 6, 1 for 2, 1 for 4, 1 for 6. You know what I mean? Is this nigga fucking Kirk Cousins 3 years ago? What's
Right.
going on?
And you know what I noticed a lot is when he would get to scrambling or get to running, and it would be like maybe like 20 yards to the sideline. Instead of trying to beat the motherfucker to the sideline, he would stop and do that bullshit inside cut, which never works because he's not like super agilic and he's fucking 6'4", and
Right.
I'm like, it's just not gonna work, you know what I mean? But he would try that shit and maybe get the yard because he's tall, he's gonna follow the yard or whatever. But he would never just try to use his legs to get to the outside and beat the motherfucker around the corner. So I thought I did attribute that as well to his leg injury and just him not feeling confident or not wanting to get, just being tender. Like I finally got it healed, and we're working on a fragile basis here, so I'm not trying to do anything extra, do anything, anything too much. So I did feel like, what I'm saying, he wasn't trying to use his black quarterback abilities. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't trusting in his black side to get him that first down. You disappeared on me again.
Yeah, I think that Jordan is our quarterback. You know what I mean? Not just saying that by sense of concept. Like, no, he's a good quarterback.
Wait, now you're double mic.
Double mic.
Now you have double. Now you're echoing. Like it's like you're double now.
Double.
Did you change anything over the last 10 seconds?
I touched nothing over no seconds.
Okay, wait. Now you're back to normal. All right, you're good. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was. I don't even know what I'm talking about. I was just talking about Jordan.
We were talking about him not using his. He wasn't using his black quarterbackness to get his first down.
He wasn't quarterbacking, you know what I mean? Like even Mahomes be summoning the little bit of nigga that's in him, and
right, he'll get off. He'll get a little scamper off every now and then. It looks like he's running in slow motion, and he gets to getting downfield though.
So like, I don't know. Jordan is our quarterback. He's a very good quarterback. I just feel that things need to be complemented better, and I think the offense just isn't opened up without Christian, and I think that's where it just emphasizes the number one receiver because Jordan Love wants to throw it down the fucking field. You've seen it. That man will YOLO, it's going. You know what I mean? Triple coverage, Christian, help me out. Like we just posted in the clip, right? But you need somebody who's going to be able to do that. You can't depend on somebody like Xavier Worthy did with the Chiefs in the Bills game, going up and doing that every game. Like we have a bunch of archetypes like that. We can't keep doing that. So.
Right. Last question on Jordan Love. Do you feel like he regressed or he progressed this season?
I think he did neither.
Kept it baseline? Kept it copacetic?
Yeah, I linear, what did it say, progress is not a straight line, you know what I mean? But that nigga just kind of was like level. I don't think it was a full-on regression because I don't think he, was fully healthy enough to show his ability. B, just kind of working on his kind of new scheme with Josh Jacobs. But also, I think that we were winning games against the bad teams regardless. So they were executing well enough to win those, right? But it was just the good teams, right? And I think that's where coaching comes more into play than anything is when you get to the good teams. Like your players are going to go out and play, but if you can get this schematic advantage, then hey, somehow, some way, the Chiefs be pulling something out their ass that you ain't seen before in the playoffs.
Right. And
all year, right?
And I was right. I don't mean to cut you off, but I was listening to a Tom Brady, just like piggybacking off that. I was listening to a Tom Brady interview the other day, and they asked the question of like how he went into games and like was there a nervousness or was there such thing as being too tight or whatever. And he was like, well, we were never tight, and people underestimate Bill Belichick is that he was. I guess they don't underestimate him, but this is what he said is like he got them so prepared it was so in depth that he felt like they always had the answer to the test. So it was never tightness. It was always like kind of excitedness because they felt like they were going in with all the answers. There was no uncertainty. There was like, okay, and he was like, even if, he's like, most teams you'll be like, okay, well, when we call this play, if they happen to call this blitz, that's the beater to this play, then whatever, they get the W for that play. And he was like, no, we made sure, okay, well, what happens this? What works well against this? Okay, well, if they do this, this is our counter. They made sure they had a counter punch to everything, even if there was a play that would throw off whatever their game plan was or whatever. They made sure to be fully prepared no matter what happened. And I don't feel like sometimes that we come out there fully prepared. Like, again, we overcompensated for the run game and the passing game from Malik Willis for those 2 games. That was us being pretty much prepared for whatever was going to happen as far as offensively that they had to throw, defensively that they had to throw at us, and where our weaknesses were, we were able to hide them. But I don't feel like we ever go into a game where it's like, this is our game plan and this is what we need to do. And if they start doing this to counteract, then we have plan B. I don't feel like that ever is the thing. It's like we go in, we don't score on the first drive, and we're like, and then all of a sudden we're like in disarray until halftime.
Yeah, I think LaFleur had his pants pulled down a little bit this year, and being like, hey, dog, you got spanked by all the good teams. You lost to Philly twice, you lost to the Lions twice, you lost to the Vikings twice. Those are teams you gotta beat in order to get over the hump. So what are you gonna
Right,
do?
we beat a hapless 49ers team, so there's that. All right, well, there's that. I hope to see Jordan Love do a little bit more progression like next year. Again, he's still in my eyes a top 10 quarterback in this league, and I think he will be for years to come as long as we can keep him on his fucking feet. Last question: how do we compliment Josh Jacobs, Jingleheimer Smith? This man was a dog for us last year. This man popped up, came in. He eased a lot of hearts and minds of Packers fans. I know everywhere when we got rid of Aaron Jones, nigga, it was going up everywhere. Like, what the fuck? Why? I was one of those people. But I really believed in Josh Jacobs underline. I'm like, well, he's actually a blue chip back. He just was on a shitty team, and he probably didn't give a fuck. Just like Devontae got the fuck beat out of him, and he didn't give a fuck, and he was only there for 2 years. Just imagine Josh. You know what I'm saying? He's been there for his entire career, just getting beat the fuck up. So he probably had a lot of not giving a fuck. So I was glad that he was able to come and calm our minds, come in and do his Doug Thizzle. But where do we go from here? How do we help him out? How do we not, workhorse him to death as the main liner of this offense? What are we up to?
So that's where, our backs, like Brooks and Lloyd and Emmanuel Wilson are going to really come into play because we need a change of pace or some sort of packages that are going to involve them in different ways because we did line up Jacobs out on the outside or as a receiver sometimes or kind of motion him or split him out. But we need to do the same thing to where it doesn't seem so predictable when we're bringing in the backup running backs. It seemed very predictable as to what they were going to do with certain ones. We would use them for a blocking scheme. Other ones like Wilson, we use them more for running. Brooks would more be like garbage time, but I just feel that we would the scheme. It just also
It was like a tell for the play, depending on which running back came in if it wasn't Josh Jacobs.
Right, he was our 3 down back, but when it wasn't in, it was like, all right, we're gonna just like eat the clock, chew this up. What down is it? Oh, it's first down. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna run the fucking ball. Like it was like, hey, we're running it right between the guard and the tackle. We're gonna try and break it to the outside if we can, but that's basically the plan. And oh no, they shot the gap because they knew where the fuck it was coming. Of course, But again, that's gonna come down to the floor and what his offensive assistants are doing. I don't know if, like you said, the coaches have gotten in his ear like Salah when he came in as the defensive consultant or the Satya or what. But we got some new coaches coming in and we promoted some new folks. So, or promoted some folks that we had. It really is circling back to the floor. How are you going to prevent this man from just running dead into the defensive tackle every fucking play? And be like, hey, dog, I need you to churn your legs for 5 yards, 4 yards, 3 yards. Hey, can he break a 70-yard run? How many big plays did Saquon have where he was just like make one man miss and he gone?
Right, right,
right? Because that line was just mauling people, and they just next level were blocking. He just had holes for days,
right.
But Jacobs, it was just like I need to pinball my way to make something happen. Oh, he broke out of that, but when he breaks out, he's breaking out from the second level, but they're right there. He's
Right.
not
It's
breaking
more
out.
tackles waiting for him. It's not
Right.
as the next layer of blocks and some shit that he can follow, so that not that the guys miss, he can read a tunnel and make a move, make a cut, and go. He's still right.
Yeah.
You're right. He's still fighting. I think where we could help him out a lot is our play action went like non-existent this year. It was like bro, I'm like, bro, we're never gonna run a play action, like, and then after his effectiveness and when people saw how effective he was and where he was at, and I'm like, bro, it never hurts to just run play action. Just run play action. And I don't know, again, if that has to do with Jordan Love's capability and bootleg, out and shit like that. And I know that was probably the case maybe earlier in the season, but then it's not like we ever got back to it in the later half of the season. So, I feel like just, and that's a main keystone of, those Shanahan offenses is the play action. And I feel like it's become like a non-existent element of our game, and it's I don't know, it's kind of concerning. And that again, that falls back to Matt LaFleur, that falls back to the coaching group, play calling, and everything. Because I'm pretty sure Jordan Love's not over there audibling out of play actions and shit. He's not over there taking it to Aaron Rodgers and shit like, oh, we're not running that shit. You know what I mean? But I think that would help a lot in opening up his holes and keeping the defense honest and not just having them be able to stack the box or whatever the case may be. But I think that all boils down to, I think we just kind of got like too overconfident. Like, we don't got to run play action because we have 4 wide receiver 1.5/2s that can beat you, so we'll just do what we got to do and run our game plan. And I'm like, no, dude, put the tricks in there, bro. We're the only niggas who act like we can't run no tricks.
Yeah, it's a little too straightforward and a little too streamlined for my liking.
Yeah, we really got exposed in that second Vikings game.
I'm glad they got their ass kicked in the way they did, but I it, I just don't know what to think. I don't want to say LaFleur is a bad coach by any stretch. I'm just saying he needs to really get in the lab this year. You know what I mean? Like it really needs to like go back to the drawing board, not just see what worked and what didn't work and what you can add. That kind of basic shit. It's like what can you create? You know what I mean? Like what can you evolve in the offense and see? It's like all right, they do this. Can you find a way to utilize their roles better and then get with Goody and be like, hey dog, go give me a playmaker. We need a playmaker on the outside, and not just depend on Jaden Reed to take a fucking jet sweep or Christian Watson to catch a fucking bomb, or Romeo Dobbs to land on the ground. So like, I need something better.
Right. Yeah, and also, I feel like Marshawn Lloyd being healthy will help spell him. You know what I'm saying? So he doesn't have to be the workhorse back that he normally has been. And I don't feel like we were overworking him, really by any means. But there were some games where it was like we needed to lean on him more and we should have, but we didn't. And there are some games where I'm like, I don't really feel like we had a game plan going in there. We just kind of came in there and did shit, and Josh Jacobs showed up, and everybody else was like, oh, well, we'll let Josh work. I'm like, no, nigga, step up.
So he only had one game, and that was against the Colts at the beginning of the year where he had over 30 carries. But he still had 300 carries on his regular season. You know what I mean? Like, so we didn't overwork him, but just looking at it, his long on the year was 38 yards. You know what I mean? Like, that was his longest run, of the season. And I'm just like, all right, and that's, I just think we can do better for him, right?
Yeah.
In the way to compliment him. And, he can, because he had a 49-yard reception.
Right, I was going to say, because I know he has longer receptions than that, for sure.
You know what I mean? He got his first receiving touchdown this year, with us against Houston, right? But I think we can just utilize him better as a target, right, out of the backfield. Like you said, the play action, dump off some screen game, you know what I mean? Get something a little better. Maybe do something with him and Tucker Kraft as kind of a lead blocker or Musgrave. Get them bulked up. So we'll see what happens, But I think we need to take him and stop just pounding him up the gut.
Right. Well, to counteract that, I don't really love when he runs like an outside sweep. Those never seem to be really fruitful for him when he has to take it all the way to a 6 hole, to a 5 hole type shit. So I don't really love him running that. But yeah, I mean, he had a lot of little, little swing passes, a lot of little banana routes that he caught out of the backfield that that he made work. And I feel like in the beginning of the season, we had him and we weren't like counting on him to like we weren't game planning for him. We were just like, you're in the offense and when we get a chance to run the ball, we expect you to do good, whatever. But we weren't like, we're gonna create this game plan for you, Josh Jacobs, and you go out there and shine. And I don't feel like we got into our bag with Josh Jacobs until maybe like the last quarter of the season, and then kind of got away from it going into the playoffs. But I don't feel like there was like until he started like going crazy and scoring touchdowns, and he was going to score touchdowns I think every game, but because he had that little record that he broke, the most consecutive games for a Packer with a touchdown or something. But I don't feel like we were game planning for him specifically. We were just like, be a good back, and when your number is called, get your 5 at least. You know what I'm saying? And then later on down the line, we started opening it up, the playbook for him a little bit more. So I hope to see a little bit more, them take that to the next level next year and know that he is like a viable piece that this offense can run through. But at the same time, like, toe that line of not workhorse him. You know what I'm saying? But again, with Marshawn Lloyd, hopefully they can be, a good 1-2 punch and he can spell some of the shit that Josh Jacobs has to do.
Yeah, so while you were saying that, I was just looking up over here because I was just trying to look at my point of like longest run. So listen to this and how many games he didn't have a run longer than 15 yards. 10 yards against the Titans, 13 against, so I'm not even going to read the teams, 10, 13, 13, 14, 12, 11, 13, 12, and then he had 18, 19, 19, 20, 18, you know what I mean? Like, it's so many where he's working so hard to get, that's as far as he can get is like a first down, not even 2 first downs. You know what I mean? Like, we're not allowing him that. I'm not saying he's capable of it, but we're not allowing him that. He only had 5 games, 6 games with runs over 20 yards. You know what I mean? Like, and again, it's not on him. That's just what are we providing to complement him, as far as like those game logs. And so I wanted to, also check, and I was going over to Saquon just to kind of get a comparison. You know what I mean? Just look at this: 23, 68, 22, 25, 72, 39, 55, 59, 65, 34. Right? You know what I mean? Like, what are they opening up for him?
Right. That nigga didn't have a game where his lowest one was anything under 20.
Now, he had a couple. He had a 10, 11, 11, you know what I mean? But most of them, you know what I mean? Again.
That's 3 games out of 17?
That's it. You know what I mean? Like, under 20. You know what I mean? Like, so, yeah, that man
was running his ass off, boy.
Right. You know what I mean? So Josh Jacobs had, you think Saquon was overworked this year. Saquon had 345 carries. Josh Jacobs had 301. So 40 more carries over the course of the year, is really like 3 more carries a game. You know, and that can mean everything in the sense of a running back. But I'm just saying, like, in the sense of the overworked aspect, like the way that Saquon worked to get his 2,000 yards, versus what Josh Jacobs did to get his 1,300 yards, not shaming his yards, but how hard he had to work to get those, it just felt different.
Right.
And so, like, we just need to just do better in scheming him open in the offense on how we're, like, doing the play action, the route running, or whatever. Like, the scheme just needs to be better, and it goes back to before getting in the lab and being able to create something better.
Right. Yeah, I agree. Cause I'm excited to see him next year. I'm excited to see him light the fire under some of these youngsters' ass and see where we're going. I don't really have anything else as far as that goes. Do you have any hot takes for Josh Jacobs? Do you have maybe a yard prediction maybe for him next year?
I think Josh Jacobs is going to get I say he's going to get past the 1,500-yard mark around the same number of carries. I still think we're going to do like 275 or maybe like 1,500, but that's all going to be dependent on LaFleur and if we get a number 1.
I can dig that. I was going to say, yeah, about 1,500, that's where I'm at too. So shit. With that,
Like if we don't have somebody that can just stack the box and be like, we ain't got to worry about y'all niggas. You know what I mean? Like I got 7 over here, 8 over here in the box. You know what I mean? Like they can play one-on-one on the outside. We need somebody better. You know,
right.
Or our people need to become better.
Right. For real. Well, yeah, I'm gonna leave it right there on that note. 1,500 for Josh Jacobs. Shit, that pretty much wraps up this episode of Super Bowl Packers. So thanks for tuning in. Anybody who popped in, anybody with us now in post-production, thanks for kicking in with us and sharing the passion for the green and gold.
You know, you can follow us on all the social medias. You know, if you enjoyed the show, go ahead and follow us on Instagram and Twitter. That's at Pack Super Bowl. Or you can follow us on Facebook at Super Bowl Packers. Also follow us right here on this channel at Tha Gawd. And hit us up. Get us some questions. Comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff.
Yes, sir. Again, drop a comment below with your thoughts on today's episode, whether it's about the team, whether it's about our backfield, or just a hot take, just showing some love for the Pack. Any of those things, we are more than happy to read, and we are reading everything. And like I said, we will give you a shout-out, put you up on the screen, let you know what's going on in the next episode, and let you know when we're going to go live so you can pop in and, defend your stance and maybe back it up a little bit. And so, yeah, just tune in. We fuck with you.
Tap in. You can also send us an email at packingsuperbowls@gmail.com. We'll answer any questions, shout you out, you know what I mean? Talk to us, let us know what you're thinking about as it pertains to the Packers or any other sport. You could even be talking about how AD got traded for Luka Doncic, and I don't know what the fuck is going on in the NBA anymore. Jesus Christ.
It's coercion, bro. But anyways, man, until next time, keep the faith, keep the energy, and always go Pack, go. We will see you guys on episode 4. What are we talking about next week?
Shoot. You know who I want to talk about next week? I want to talk about our safety group. You know what I mean? I want to talk about...
All the DBs or just the safeties?
Nah, I want to talk about the safeties. I want to talk about Evan Williams. I want to talk about Javon Bullard. It's like the slot corner safety. I want to talk about McKinney. We'll get to corners later because I got... I want to prep something here for Ja, you know what I mean, and the corner group, overall, and get that all together. So now I want to talk about how Xavier McKinney, was an all-pro, and, just tap in with us on that next episode because I feel like the safety group and what we got tapping in, I think the safeties are going to be nice.
Yeah, I would say that's a group that I'm really excited about. So we'll go ahead and touch on the safety groups next episode. Until then, y'all stay legendary.
You know the legend Lombardi. You know the vibes. You know the mission. Bring it on home. Peace out, baby. Green and gold.